then it fills for some reason. It's weird. Hmm. Yeah, I remember Generations. I think that I say for later. Okay, just go top first. Easy.
According to Kelly
The car market is on the brink of collapse. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of stuff about what do you call it? Like both in the US and South Africa, the cars have been like going up in price for like crazy prices. Is this tax ever going to get off? Break a setting or something. Uh, and then is it supposed to stay like? Oh, yeah, whatever, whatever.
Blue Book, the average new car price has officially surpassed
Huh?
According to Kelly Blue Book, the average new car price has officially surpassed $50,000, bringing the typical car payment just shy of $800 a month.
Wait. Let me calculate that real quick. Damn. Wait, you
And
said
while delinquent,
average. Ain't no way.
according to Kelly Blue Book, the average new car price has
Almost R1 million for an average car. Nah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
officially surpassed $50,000, bringing the typical car payment just shy of $800 a month. And while delinquencies are at their highest rate since 2008, it raises a question: how close are we to a complete car market collapse? Well, essentially every aspect of the American economy is in a tight race for the first bailout, with the car market nearing the finish line as repossessions are at their highest rate since 2008. The reality is that this collapse is simply the compounded result of a single decision made just over a century ago. In 1914, Henry Ford recognized that a
Really?
workforce unable to afford the very products it built, or the time to enjoy them, was a threat to both business and economic growth. He introduced a standardized 8-hour workday paired with a wage of $5 a day, more than double the industry standard, and roughly $163 when adjusted for inflation.
Wait.
Economic growth. He introduced a standardized 8-hour workday paired with a wage of
Okay.
$5 a day, more than double the industry standard, and roughly $163 when
Check
adjusted
it
for
out more.
inflation. In fact, nearly 30% of the entire American workforce still makes less than a Ford factory worker did in 1914. Within 24
Hey,
hours, nearly 10,000 workers lined up outside Ford's factories, forcing other
was good
companies to
back in the
adopt similar
days.
policies and demonstrating what a capitalistic economy could produce when workers were treated as participants in prosperity rather than disposable inputs. To accelerate his
Okay.
vision, Ford announced in 1916 that he would stop issuing special dividends to shareholders and instead reinvest profits into building the largest automobile plant in the
Hey, bro, he said, I don't care about you shareholders. Now pay my workers base.
world, stating, "My ambition is to employ more men, to spread the benefits of this industrial system to the greatest possible number, to help them build up their lives and their homes." But of course, this quickly put him at odds with his own investors, whom Ford often viewed as
Yeah.
parasitic entities, demanding returns while
Shit.
contributing nothing to production.
Well, that's what they are. It's true. It hasn't changed. So no matter what company you go to, you have investors. Yeah, they're always the same, bro. Always the same.
Culminating in the 1919 Dodge vs. Ford Motor Company case, where the Michigan Supreme Court ultimately ruled that Ford's plans to expand operations, raise wages, and lower prices was legally
Hey, this text is annoying me. Let me put it off. How did I turn it off? Yeah, do that. There's a stain there. I'll fix it later.
culminating in the 1919 Dodge vs. Ford Motor Company case, where the Michigan Supreme Court ultimately ruled that Ford's plans to expand operations, raise wages, and lower prices was legally secondary to maximizing investor returns, establishing
Ah,
the
it all went wrong. Oh, no. Court system, bro.
legal and
It's
ideological
against the people.
blueprint that would come to define modern priorities in the United States. The priorities that as we can see, have gutted the nation. As Ford's
Yep.
dominance over the automobile industry began to slip, the shift towards shareholder driven priorities quickly coincided with the rise of General Motors under Alfred P. Sloan, who famously stated that GM existed not to make motor cars, but to make money. Unlike Ford, who viewed debt, especially consumer debt,
Classic
as morally
business.
wrong and a form of postponing responsibility, Sloan believed that the auto loan could unlock far broader consumption by allowing Americans to purchase more expensive or stylish GM vehicles immediately. To accomplish this, Sloan engineered what would later be described as planned obsolescence, deliberately designing products so they would either break down or appear inferior within a predictable period of time. Instead of being made for the masses, Sloan tiered each GM brand according to income
Oh,
level, while introducing small technological improvements each year, creating a ladder of consumption where Americans were encouraged to constantly upgrade their vehicles as a visible sign of success.
it's so annoying how this all happens in the US and then basically it trickles down to third world countries like South Africa. So even though I don't, I don't live in the US, I still have to deal with the same bull.
Today, roughly 66% of Americans trade in their vehicle every 5 years or less, and as a result, Americans now owe a record $1.6 trillion in auto loan debt, making it the second largest category of consumer debt after mortgages. Nearly
Oh yeah, I just realized. I think the US, the cars in the US on average like cost way more than in South Africa because the average car costing almost 1 million rands. That's insanity, bro. That's insanity. Like like I see like cars driving around. I know the prices from like looking them up in the store in the shops, and the average car is not that price, bro. 1 million rand, nah, like $50,000 is that insane, insane.
20% of borrowers now carry monthly car payments of at least $1,000, roughly quadruple the number in 2019. And more than 1 in 5 new car buyers in the United States are now taking out loans lasting 84 months or longer. And while the car market is certainly fueled by rampant consumerism, it's important to understand that the American economy itself has ultimately been built around the automobile. Infrastructure like the interstate highway system expanded cities far beyond their urban cores, gradually shifting owning a car from a convenience into a prerequisite for participating in the modern economy. At the same time, public transportation across many US cities is now facing major service reductions due to budget cuts, further limiting alternatives to driving. According to research from the University of Michigan, nearly 20% of Americans already lack consistent access to transportation, making mobility
So basically, the auto industry has like a chokehold on the public transport industry, in order to like make more money no matter what, the damn investors.
one of the most common material hardships alongside reliable access to food, healthcare, and housing. And when the average American now spends nearly an hour commuting every day, 5 days a week, while the total cost of vehicle ownership, including loan payments, gasoline, insurance, and repairs, has already risen 48% since 2019, the American
Yeah,
workforce has become fundamentally
yeah.
dependent on one thing above all else: the monthly car payment. Today, roughly 85% of all new vehicles and 55% of used vehicles are financed, tying the success of the car market directly to the expansion of credit rather than affordability. And because dealer franchise laws prevent manufacturers from selling vehicles directly to customers, vehicle prices, financing structures, and dealership fees have expanded far beyond what would typically occur in a fully competitive market, with the average
You know what I don't understand? When it comes to like people getting cars, I don't understand how someone who like, but what how does it like like the F-150, for example. I know for these cars in particular, they are very expensive because they're like big ass cars. But what I don't understand is like why someone would take out a loan just to get this car when they can get something like smaller that would be just as useful. Like they'll get this big ass car and go, oh yeah, specifically, I don't understand how people go into debt to get a car this big when you're just going to drive it around town. Like, yeah, just financially irresponsible, but at that point, like, you know, honestly, I live in the US and I had the money, I would get an F-150. But if I had to like go into debt to get it, no ways.
Average new car being roughly 56% more expensive than in 1963 when adjusted for inflation. The same decade, dealership franchise protections became rapidly entrenched across the country, proving that dealerships have effectively turned the modern car market into the loan market. Because the dealership model increasingly depends on financing rather than the vehicle itself, the incentives across the industry have gradually shifted towards maximizing loan volume rather than ensuring the long-term sustainability of those loans. Lenders have aggressively expanded subprime auto lending, extending credit to borrowers with weaker credit profiles in order to sustain vehicle sales, with many of those loans once again packaged into asset-backed securities and sold to investors across financial markets. At the same time, more than 25% of all trade-ins now carry negative equity of $10,000 or more, with roughly 31% of all drivers currently underwater on their vehicle. Instead of settling that debt,
He's 23%. It's that big.
dealerships frequently roll the remaining balance into the next loan, stacking the unpaid portion of the previous vehicle onto another rapidly depreciating asset and trapping borrowers in loans that will far outlast the financial life of the car itself.
Wait, so, huh? Wait. So they basically take a chunk out of the loans that are not fully paid, and then put it onto the next buyer. Is that right? I don't know if I got that right.
Stacking the unpaid portion of the previous vehicle onto another rapidly depreciating asset and trapping borrowers in loans that will far outlast the financial life of the car itself, as 7-year loans have now
Mhm.
become more common than traditional 5-year loans. And as vehicle prices and interest rates have risen,
No, 7-year loan for a car that won't even last 7 years.
delinquency rates have now reached their highest level since tracking began in 1990, with delinquency rates among prime borrowers having doubled, indicating that even higher income households are beginning to struggle with the rising
What's a loan delinquency? Is it like not paying it off? That might be what it is in this context.
reached their highest level since tracking began in 1990, with delinquency rates among prime borrowers having doubled, indicating that even higher income households are beginning to struggle with the rising costs of vehicle ownership. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has warned that these practices within the auto lending industry have become one of the most concerning credit dynamics in the broader consumer economy. Alongside this explosion in auto loan debt, manufacturers have also begun squeezing every last cent out of drivers' pockets through monthly vehicle subscriptions, charging $5 just to unlock your own car from an app, $10 for heated seats,
Oh yeah, the subscriptions, bro, crazy, bro. Like two options for me. If I like one, I'll I'll never ever get a car that needs a subscription, bro. I ain't paying a subscription for heated seats. Or option two, if somehow I had to get a subscription car, like maybe a gift, or maybe like more realistically, like every car has a subscription. It succeeded and got all this trash in. Bruh, I'm jailbreaking that. I am finding a way and I'm going to jailbreak it. Ain't no way I paid for a car, the heated seats are already in, but I have to pay a subscription. Nah, nah, bro, nah.
$100 for extra acceleration, or $4.99 simply to access all of your speakers. Ford has now even made the Mach-E's Frank a
Even
paid
speakers, even speakers.
heated seats, $100 for extra acceleration, or
Wait,
from an app subscriptions, charging $5 just to unlock your own car from an app, $10 for heated seats, $100 for extra acceleration, or $4.99 simply to access all of your speakers.
Was the speaker one before or after the controversy for what's it called, BMW? Because no way it can be after. Like, like yeah, yeah, I won't even say it. I won't even say
Ford
it.
has now even made the Mach-E's Franc a paid option for the 2026 model after
Nah, I'm so sad about Ford. Like I used to actually be a fan of Ford. I really like their cars and their like white selection. But like now I look at like every new Ford and I'm like, nah, they're garbage, bro. Garbage. They're not reliable at all. Not even gonna say less, they're not reliable. They're expensive. And then subscriptions on top of that. Nah, I'll get a Toyota. The Toyotas are still good at least, you know. The Japanese at least respect their customers.
including it for free for 5 years. Now, if you want the privilege of storing
Only
things under
five
the
years.
hood, you'll have to pay an additional $495 to access the space. Ford claims its planning team noticed customers weren't using the Frank very often, so they figured charging
So
for it wouldn't impact the end user all that much. But the
nah, just because people don't. Nah, yeah, it's just excuse, just excuse. Call or you don't use this often, so we're gonna charge you whenever you want to use it, bruh. Nah,
industry's attempt
it's my car. Can do what I want with it. If I don't use all its features, you can just put a subscription on me for when I want to actually use all the features.
at you owning nothing and being forced to be happy about it doesn't stop there. The Federal Trade Commission recently took action against General Motors and its OnStar subsidiary after allegations that GM collected precise geolocation data and detailed driving behavior, things like speeding, hard braking, or late night driving, from millions of connected vehicles
Oh yeah, and also the stealing your data. I forgot about that part. Yeah, yeah.
through the OnStar Smart Driver feature. That data was then allegedly sold or
Another reason not to get a Ford, because yeah, it has been proven that they do that.
shared with third parties who packaged it for insurers to adjust premiums or deny coverage entirely. And while you may be getting frustrated, just remember someone still has to think about the poor shareholders. Now, despite all of this,
Consumers.
you've probably seen the videos circulating online of dealership managers claiming they can't understand why people have suddenly stopped buying cars. So, to get a better understanding of what's actually happening inside the industry,
Ain't no way. This bill can't. Ain't no way. Look at the price, and immediately you know, like how out of touch do you have to be to look at a million rand car, like for an average car, million rand, and say, "Oh, I wonder why people are not buying the car." Oh, it's expensive. Dang.
I spoke with more
Like how rich are these dealers?
Seco, a former digital team coordinator at a dealership in Iowa, and the editor for Everything I Do on Patreon, who many of you may recognize from the interview series I did with subscribers about their experiences in the job market.
People who were seeing the numbers, seeing everything, they would come in and be like, "I don't understand why nobody bought a car today. I don't understand why we haven't sold a car."
Oh, AKA investors. So yeah, it makes sense why they don't understand because yeah, the investors, yeah, the most out of touch type of people you to ever exist are investors. Like to have an investor that is not out of touch is like finding a unicorn.
In 3 weeks. Guys, the price of eggs is like $5 right now. The amount of people in our communities using the food kitchens is going up. Of course, people are not buying cars right now unless they absolutely have to. And then they would complain that the people coming in who absolutely had to buy a car were the ones coming in to buy the cars because they were not getting people who could. Like, even the worst banks would deny these people. I just really think it's like a disconnect. When you go into work and you're like trying to make money, they're concerned about making money and their livelihood, and it doesn't connect for them that what they're seeing in the grocery stores and what they're seeing in their communities and the people who are coming in and have this really low credit score and can't afford to buy a car but have to buy a car, they have empathy for that until it's not like adding up in their bank account. So I think it's just a really big disconnect.
Nah, they don't have empathy on that in the first place. It's either faking or just not, nah, not even to begin with.
And like a larger level of like apathy that you've discussed a lot.
And because Maura has since left the dealership to help this channel more, FlexiSpot was kind enough to send her a desk to be more effective and efficient with her work.
Hey guys, I've been fortunate enough to receive this desk from
Format.
FlexiSpot. This is the E7 Pro desk. FlexiSpot desks come in a variety of sizes, and I specifically got the 60 by 30 desk to fit my work needs. Previously, before this, my
So
fiance and I were
yeah,
sharing a desk, and now we're able
how old
to
is this
work at the
video?
same time. Not only does it have a 15-year
I guess I'll
warranty,
let
but
it
it
go.
also has an extremely sleek and clean design, complete with storage and cable covers. My living space
Oh,
is
it's the
very
one that
dynamic,
goes up and
so
down.
having the storage is
I
really
wish I could
helpful.
get one
You'll
of
also
those.
notice that this desk is exceptionally stable, regardless of what height you need it at.
And not only did they send a desk, but they even sent a chair to help her with the longer editing sessions.
I usually don't mention this online, but having an ergonomic chair like the C7 Max is actually extremely
Uh,
important for me.
when can I
I have a
get a
chronic
sponsor?
illness, and so sitting for long periods of time can actually make my legs go numb.
Maybe in three
But with
years.
FlexiSpot's chair, I'm able to sit for hours comfortably. Now I have a faster
Maybe.
turnaround time for the channel's videos, and I can also sit comfortably while focusing. The height of the chair is adjustable, and so are the
Next
arms
clip.
and
Yeah.
headrests. So whatever way you need to sit, FlexiSpot has your back, even providing a 10-year warranty.
So if you're in need of a high quality desk and chair, click the link in the description and use the codes on screen to get an extra $30 off your purchase. Thank you, FlexiSpot, for providing Maura with a great workstation and for helping us grow this channel. Alongside dealership greed, essentially bringing the car market on the verge of bankruptcy, the next logical aspect of this discussion would be to discuss the impact of tariffs and the garbage on wheels that is modern vehicle quality. However, due to recent events, there is an even larger catalyst in this emerging collapse. Beyond the tragic cost of a rapidly escalating war, this conflict is also triggering a chain reaction across global energy markets. Due to the soft closure of the Strait of Hormuz, where roughly 20% of the world's oil supply passes, Robert McNally, an energy analyst at Rapidian Energy Group, has warned that a prolonged closure would almost guarantee a global recession. Historically, when crude oil rises towards $100 to $120 per barrel, US gasoline prices often climb into the $4 to $5 per gallon range. So far, prices have already increased about 47 cents in just the past week, now averaging roughly $3.45 per gallon nationally. For the average American driver traveling
That's
around 13,500 miles per year, every $1 increase in gasoline prices adds roughly $500 to $600 in additional annual fuel costs. In an economy where
um,
63% of the American workforce is already unable to afford an unexpected $500 expense. At the same time, higher fuel
yeah.
prices raise transportation costs across global supply chains, increasing the cost of moving vehicles, parts, and raw materials. And when tariffs are layered on top of those rising production costs, particularly on imported steel, aluminum, and foreign vehicles, the price of building and selling cars increases even further, creating a perfect storm where already struggling manufacturers face rising production costs, dealerships face weakening demand, and customers already burdened with record levels of auto debt face even higher costs at both the dealership and the gas pump, all on top of a system already built on historic levels of rotating debt. And while it's basically impossible to accurately predict not only what will happen with
Yeah, there's going to be a recession at some point because like I don't see a way where to get like suddenly get better. You can only see it getting worse, honestly, because it's not like like these investors are going to suddenly have a heart, so they're not going to like alleviate. the the is alleviate the right word? I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, they're not going to make the prices better for the consumers. You know that they're not going to pull who, I don't know this guy's name, but basically if I got the story right, I think a guy that was running Toyota, I don't know if he's still running Toyota or yeah, I don't know if he's still running Toyota or he was like the guy before. But basically he took a cut of he cut his paycheck because Toyota was like doing bad because of like bad decisions. And and yeah, also the previous guy for Nintendo also uh did a cut on his check. Why is it so hard for me to speak there? But yeah, these investors ain't no way they're gonna do that, bro. Ain't no way. It doesn't matter if the customer is getting rolled over. It doesn't matter if the workers, just doesn't matter what's in that bank account. Number go up.
With this war, but other geopolitical conflicts on the horizon, what I hope that we're beginning to recognize is that the car market, just like basically every other aspect of the American economy, has far more things that can blow over the house of cards rather than reinforce it. Remove the oil concerns entirely. We're still facing a very real and very serious credit crisis, not to mention that cars are only going to get more expensive because there is no incentive for it not to. This is why I keep bringing trying to bring attention to these things that almost feel so big. Like, what is it that we can do about the car market or the job market or the American economy or geopolitical events? All of these different things. The reality is that as individuals, there's nothing that we can really do. But I do think that one, it's very important to understand how we actually got here. I'm trying to do everything that I can to not only remove, our hands from each other's throats, but also for us to get a sense of maybe this isn't like my fault. Maybe if I am a single mother of 3 kids and I can't afford a car, or I'm in some insane car loan, even though I've done everything by the books, I've done everything the way that I was supposed to. I'm a single mom because my husband died or something like that. That it's not like you're bad. I think that there's hundreds of thousands of people out there, maybe millions of people out there that are taking that are taking so much blame for something that has nothing to do with them. And I think, unfortunately, while there is certainly an aspect out there of people that just need a car, they just desperately need a vehicle to be able to go to work and things like that, there is still a massive chunk of the American customer base that is buying cars that are trading in their vehicles because of what Alfred P. Sloan set up, the planned obsolescence. When I was, and basically since I started driving at 17, I have been made fun of for the car I've had the entire time. My first car was a 1999 Crown Victoria with a police interceptor package. It was the very same vehicle that my parents actually brought me home from the hospital when I was born. And the paint chips from
That's
the hood
crazy.
would literally fly off. The windshield wipers didn't work, so
Crazy. The long the actually yeah, actually not that yeah, not that crazy because my father used to have a car that's lasted, I don't know how long it lasted. I think 20 something years or 30 years, I'm not sure. No, no, it's got to be like 30 or more years. Was a really old car and like it stopped working for a while. But after he crashed his other car, he eventually fixed up the old one. Uh, and like it worked for a while, but the other thing broke down. If I was born earlier, I probably would be driving that car. Honestly, like I'm fine with any car, bro. You can give me the worst car as long as it moves. I'll drive, bro. I'll drive.
my stepdad and I would keep goggles inside of the car. Again, we lived in the country, so don't recommend this or whatever, but when we were driving through the back roads, if it started to rain, we would put the goggles on and we would stick our head out the window. So that kind of gives you a sense of the car, right? But
Yeah, that's
it's what my
dangerous.
parents called jalopies. It's like it's your first car. If it got towed or if I hit something, it didn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. Now that's the other thing. Some people think that you have to have like a full car, your first car. Nah, just be fine with like any car, bro. Your first car, you is it's your first time like driving for like a lot since it's your car, you can drive wherever. So like, do you want a brand new car where you have to be worried about scratching it and stuff, or do you want like a a, a toaster that if you scratch on the paint, you're like whatever, whatever. It has a million scratches anyway. Who cares?
That was kind of the point of it. It was still safe, minus the the windshield wipers. But anyway, so I got made fun of so much that it really imprinted something in my mind, especially being young. It was like even though I was raised differently, I kept saying, I need to get a new car. I'm worthless,
Yeah, pressure.
or I'm all these things. You attach yourself to material items so quickly. That's American culture for you. So I remember whenever I graduated, I got a job working as a teller at the local bank at 18. I thought I was so naive. Like looking back at it, it's like sad actually. I
Oh no, did he get a time complete afford? Nah, don't tell me, bro. Don't tell me.
truly thought that banks were like it's a wonderful life. Again, the way I was raised, just kind of more traditional, it was, these are the people that try to help out, your local surroundings. So I go in there thinking, man, this is where I'm going to I'm going to learn the financial secrets. I'm going to be able to help out the community. I'm going to have a career. I'm going to have all of these different things. The other thing that I thought was I'll finally have like-minded people that think similarly financially. I'm a frugal person. I save money. I don't care about material items.
Wait,
Holy,
wait.
I got made fun of 10 times worse at the bank than I did in.
Bruh, they brought peer pressure into the workplace, bro. Because crazy. Do people not grow up? No, bro, I don't like I don't like blaming people that are poor for being poor. I'm broke too. I'm poor. But like, if you're making good money and you're like, I have to have the new great car, like bro. If you're broke, I will laugh at you. Yeah. Because it's your fault at that point. It's all your fault.
Man, this is where I'm going to learn the financial secrets. I'm going to be able to help out the community. I'm going to have a career. I'm going to have all of
Nah,
these different things.
nah.
The other thing that I thought was I'll finally have like-minded people that think similarly financially. I'm a frugal person. I save money. I don't care about material items.
Culture shock. Uh, culture shock, as they say.
Holy, I got made fun of 10 times worse at the bank than I did in high school by adults. I was 20 years younger than the next youngest person.
It's yeah. Now that I think about it, I think I've only got made fun of my father driving like a toaster car like once. It was yeah, well, kind of. So basically, this time when uh over the years my father has borrowed like a lot of cars because like if we weren't like well off enough to like get another car after he crashed the car like for a bit. We did eventually get he did eventually get some money to like get a new reliable car. But basically at the time when he was borrowing a car, he borrowed like a hard body. I think yeah, a Nissan hard body. And yo bro, that car was old, bro. It was rusty. And then I got like and then this one day when he was picking me up from school, I rode on the back of the car, like the how do they call it? The bed, yeah, the bed of the car. because I really enjoyed doing that. Whenever we had a car that had a bed, I wanted to like go on the bed and have like the wind on my face. And yeah, that time where I got on, my friends were laughing, but I didn't care. I was enjoying, bro. Ah, smart decision. I how okay, that makes sense. Yeah, smart decision. Yeah, yep, it is. What's this? Okay, I don't know what. Well, I'm sure it's fine. So sorry, just look at my settings.
The person that was above me had a kid that was 11 days older than I was. They made fun of me so much. And so I think that's when I really started to think, okay, there must be something wrong with me. Now, I'm very grateful that I learned very quickly through watching and just looking at statements of customers or people walking in and doing their auto loans and all these things. And I realized, wow, everything is flipped. The people
Hold on, I got change the setting real quick. Take that off. Let me just play it correctly. Think so. I think I fixed it. Okay.
that we think are rich don't have money, kind of typically, like societally doing their auto loans and all these things. And I realized, wow, everything is flipped. The people that we think are rich don't have money, kind
Yeah.
of typically, like societally rich. Oftentimes they don't have as much money as you think. The people that are driving the beat up cars and don't have the flashy things typically have more money.
Yep. A fool and his money is soon is it soon? Yeah, I'm messing up quotes. A fool and his money is parted, basically. Yeah.
And I remember that I just felt like I fit in and I could understand the people that didn't have the flashy thing. So I would go and talk to them. And I remember my manager or these other people would always say, like, why are you wasting time with them? The most disgusting thing, and other people that work at financial
What? Ah, so basically, he when he found that out, he actually talked to like people that are smart with their money, and then because these people like look broke, and others are like, "Why are you even talking to them? That's crazy, bro. That's crazy."
and talk to them. And I remember my manager or these other people would always say, like, why are you wasting time with them? The most disgusting thing, and other people that work at financial places or even dealerships or things like that will understand, whenever there would be a nice car that would pull in, everybody would get up and like run to the door to greet them. It's sick. Like it's disgusting. We don't judge based off of characters or morals or anything like that.
All on
So
looks.
in 2020, I bought a 2007 Ford Focus with like 120,000 miles on it for $2,500 in cash. I had to put another $2,500 or so to kind of get it to where it needs.
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
A 2007. So in 2020, I bought a 2007 Ford Focus with like 120,000 miles on it for $2,500 in cash. I had to put another $2,500 or so to kind of get it to where it needed to be. It's the same car that I have now.
I thought he originally said 25,000. That's why I had to go back. $25,000 for a new car, ain't no way. But I said, yeah, but that's a basic said 2,500. Then another 2,500 for fixing up the car. I think that's what I said, yeah.
I thought finally I have just an average car. Like it just, no paint chips are flying, windshield wipers work, it's fuel efficient, everything's fine. I got made fun of more. I'm like 6'3, 220. If I sit in my car sitting up, I kind of have to
And I just realized I read some words. I thought it was a chat.
like tilt my head. So I just kind of lean back or whatever. It was basically an everyday occurrence from 2020 to 2022.
Yeah, they made fun every single day. Nah, people really don't grow up, bro. They, people really don't grow up.
I got made fun of more. I'm like 6'3", 220. If I sit in my car sitting up, I kind of have to like tilt my head. So I just kind of lean back or whatever. It was basically an everyday occurrence from 2020 to 2022 of, hey, are your feet sore? And what they were referring to was I was Fred Flintstone having to run my car, right? Like it's funny in some
Yeah,
way,
that is
but
funny.
it gets to a point to where you hear it so much and you hear, when are you going to get a new car? Why are you so frugal? I would literally get
Yeah,
made fun of for bringing my lunch every day.
that's so
You
stupid.
start to you hear these things so much. I can totally see why people lean to feeling like they need a material item to show their worth or something like that. Every person that I worked with either had a car payment that was more than my rent or was very close to it. I'd saved up about a year and a
Wow.
half of expenses, 2 years of expenses, because I had worked at least 2 jobs that entire time, sometimes 3 jobs. And I decided, you know what? The only chance I have to be able to not only try to provide value to people, try to make a difference, and also
Oh, no
maybe have a career for
20K.
myself, is if I go pursue this YouTube
Oh,
channel with 500 subscribers, have a career for
okay, okay,
myself,
you did it.
is if I go pursue this YouTube channel with 500 subscribers. So I quit my job, the only place I'd really been since I was 18, pursued YouTube full time, and I had to spend basically all the savings was almost gone. It took me an entire year. I didn't make a single dollar, literally not a single dollar, not a single dollar. And, at the end of the day, look at
Yeah, that was risky though. Like if he fails, then like what do you do after that, bro? You have to go back and go job hunting. Uh, like respect to him, but it's smarter to still be working while you like do YouTube. Like maybe instead of like doing multiple jobs at once, he does like one and then does like and then you have time for YouTube. Because yeah, that's risky. But yeah, respect to him. He got the grind.
like the change that I've been able to help make and the value that I've provided. And I lived by my morals and my character and, all of these other things. But the money that I had saved up, I thought was going to go to a car. And so I'm now, still driving the same car, right? I don't get made fun of because I just don't see anybody. But
Yeah.
um, I turned it into a business that
Who needs those people? Good that he got them out of his life. Who needs them?
has now been able to reach over 22 million people. And it's actively been about helping people. That's what I care about, is providing value. Now, again, I understand that not everybody can buy a $2,500, clunker. I still love the car, but not everybody can do that. And I understand that there's a tremendous amount of people that have to have cars. That's why I really wanted to show that in this video. But man, yes, we can't fix the car market. And I think the car market will be like one of the dominoes that falls for probably the economic fallout that we're going to have to face. It isn't just going to get better. This K-shaped economy is only going to get worse. There's no incentives, and so we have to address that. But in the meantime, do what it is that you can. Like, make sure that you're raising your kids with better values, or if you see somebody, don't judge them by the car that they drive, or feel proud of the fact that you have a car that's paid for, that it's almost paid for, that you're actively paying for it. It's these little things of how can we change our perspective in an environment that is promoting like decay and deceit and greed. I think the more that we can do that, I think that as things goes on, it gives us more power, and it allows us to be able to connect better. Anyway, I'm actively trying to do what it is that I can to provide awareness and plant trees and things for other generations to be able to enjoy it. And I'm going to do everything that I can to make that happen. I would really appreciate it if you would like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, if you want to be a part of this journey.
Yeah,
And
for
beyond that,
sure,
thank you
man.
all so much for your time. I hope it provided value. Until next time, bye bye.
Amazing video. I'm subscribing for that. Remember, kids, everything wants to either drain your wallet or your soul, or both. Yeah. Yeah. I need to go back real quick.